Sara Martin was born in Louisville, Jefferson County, Kentucky in 1884. She sang the blues, a type of music very popular when she was alive. Many blues and jazz singers became famous when Martin was alive. Sara Martin was a blues singer too, and even if you have not heard of her, many say she was just as talented as others that are more famous. As a blues singer, Martin traveled to many places. She spent a lot of time singing in Chicago, New Orleans, St. Louis, and New York. Louisville was not as well known when it came to jazz and blues music. Sara Martin was born at the time when Louisville was starting to build a jazz and blues culture. African American residents in Louisville were living in a separate and unequal environment. The culture they were creating helped to provide entertainment for their difficult lives. Sara Martin began singing in church. She sang every Sunday in the church choir. She knew that she wanted to sing and perform for a living. She made one of her first appearances at an amusement park in Louisville called White City. Martin developed a strong stage presence as a performer. Many that saw her sing said that she could be very dramatic on stage. Sara Martin brought out the emotions of the words she was singing in her performance. The earliest part of Sara Martin's singing career was spent as a vaudeville singer. Vaudeville was a type of entertainment show that featured many different acts. Some of the acts included singers, dancers, comedians, animals, magicians, acrobats, athletes, jugglers, and much more. Many Americans in the early 1900s went to these shows for their entertainment. Martin worked hard to keep up with her blues and vaudeville performances. African American singers were not allowed to sing in some places. Singing is what Martin did for a living. Even though life was difficult, Martin achieved her dreams of becoming a famous performer. The titles of some of her songs reflect some of the hardships she faced. Mama's Got the Blues, Laughin', Cryin' Blues, Blues Please Go Away, I Got the Crying Blues. What do you think blues music was about? Music can often have an effect on a person's mood. Through these songs, Sara Martin provided the words and strength to overcome challenges that many people faced. In 1932, Sara Martin returned to her hometown of Louisville, Kentucky. During that time, the Great Depression was causing many problems for Americans. In Louisville, Sara Martin spent the rest of her life serving in her church and managing a nursing home. What kind of character does a person who works in a nursing home need? Sara Martin showed compassion for people in need. She provided the service of taking care of the needs of others for the rest of her life. Although she spent so much of her life singing the pains of the blues, she spent the latter part of her life taking care of others and cheering them up. A singer needs a microphone when they are performing. Sara Martin might have used a microphone like the one pictured here. When Martin sang, it was just her voice and whatever music the band played. There were no other sounds or special effects like many singers use today. This is a picture of the Apollo Theater in Harlem, New York. It is a very famous theater. This was one of the first theaters to host African American performers.